What is up? What is up? What is up? Nathan, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Everybody, we're just waiting for ChillTown here. It's going to be a good show today. Going to be a good live. We have a stacked weekend of boxing. But yeah, we have a stacked weekend of boxing, and I'm excited to discuss it. I mean, we have everything from Pro Box tomorrow, which not a lot of people are talking about, but there's some money-making opportunities on the Pro Box card tomorrow. We also have, of course, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson. You have Bakram Murtazaliev versus Josh Kelly. And then you also have on Sunday, you have Zuffa Boxing, which also has some really good money-making opportunities. So all of that being said, guys, I'm sorry I'm still a little bit under the weather for my last live stream. And it's going to be nice to have TJ from ChillTown here as well, because he'll be able to take off some of the pressure from me talking so much. I'm super excited to have TJ on. Super sharp guy. Super excited. It's kind of like in the mythos of the boxing Twitter community. Everyone knows TJ and ChillTown. He's I heard Johnny refer to him one time as like the Sasquatch of boxing, and I think that's actually a pretty damn good way to refer to TJ as. So, Reed, hope you're doing well. Reed is going to be one day a Oscar winner on a film one day. He will be an editor. He will be doing something on the background of a film one day that will win an Oscar. I can guarantee that. Bright young man. He has a great future in film. Make sure you guys shout out Reed to editor. He actually edits. If you guys watch any movie videos, like any movie edited videos, I bet he's edited some of your favorite movie YouTube videos and reviews. I almost guarantee it. So, Reed, good to see you, brother. Hope school's doing well. We're just waiting for TJ. If you're in the comments, please give us a like, give us a comment. Let us know what fights you want to talk about. That's another thing, too, as well. I'm excited about this show here for you. Big Sam, what up, brother? We've had Big Sam on for our 5-star plays. I got to be curious about the words I'm using because I've gotten 2 strikes from YouTube talking about the devilish games that we play. I don't know if even saying the G word will get me banned and striked, but shout out Big Sam. We smacked on our 5-star plays when we had him on. Love to have you on again, Big Sam. Let me know whenever you would like to come on again. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a stacked weekend here. I want to hear what fights you guys want to talk about. What boxing matches do you want to hear some discussions about? Because there's quite a few. First and foremost, I want to say my fight of the night. What I think will be fight of the night is going to be Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. I think both those guys are going to collide in the middle, and they're going to have a slugfest. They're going to have a bring your dick show and see who's his biggest. They're going to have a pissing contest right in the middle of the boxing ring, boys. Trust me when I say that. Carlos Adames, Ammo Williams. That's a fight you absolutely cannot miss. You absolutely cannot miss. That is not the fight you go to take a piss break. That is not the fight you go. Kelly versus Bach, the people's fight. I feel like it's the most torn fight. What's up, GK? Hope you're doing well, brother. I feel like it's also one of the most split fights we have. The odds aren't reflecting how people feel about Josh Kelly and how they feel about Bakram. I feel like Bakram's in this weird stage right now. I don't want to talk too much. I want to wait for TJ to get here. But I'll say this. I feel like Bakram's in this weird stage right now where he's almost underrated, and I feel like Josh Kelly may be being overrated. Now, we're going to see how this fight goes. If Josh Kelly beats Bakram and clears him 7-5, 8-4, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes to the cards if there's some hometown decision bullshit because of where it's at. So just something to keep in note, just something to add in mind too as well. We have the guy ChillTown here too. We're going to bring him on now, y'all.
Yo, what's up, man? Let me see if I can flip this around. Yeah, hold on.
Appreciate you coming on. Oh, he's going to flip it and then come back on. The people's champ ChillTown was here. He'll be back. But Kelly versus Bach, man. GK, you may be right because it may be technically the people's fight. I feel like it's the most split fight too as well. We have seen a little bit of money coming in on Josh Kelly because Bakram odds have changed up pretty question here. Let's see here.
Is that good? I was trying to flip it, but
no, you had it. How are you today, mate?
Good. This is good like that. I'm real bad with anything tech. How's it going, dude?
I'm good, man. How are you? I appreciate
good.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much. I think it's going to be great to have you on. I think a lot of people are going to be excited to hear your opinion on a lot of these fights specifically.
Man, thanks for having me, bro. Whenever I get an opportunity to talk boxing, man, especially with people that are very in tune with the sport. You know, there's not too many of us, as I say. So, but I appreciate everything that you're doing. Yeah, no, man. So
thank you.
Same here. Same here.
Like, man, I'm stoked about this weekend. Quite frankly, I was just asking everybody in the comments, first and foremost, what's your favorite fight of the weekend? Coming into the weekend, is there one fight you're most excited for beyond just the betting aspect or anything of that nature? What's your favorite fight you think coming into the weekend?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. Probably Shakur, just because we haven't seen him against an elite level opponent. And I've always had such high expectations for him. And obviously no one's running to fight Shakur. And this is a pound for pound level opponent in Teofimo. And it could be vice versa. We could see Teofimo really shine. I mean, these are two guys in their prime that we held to such high standards. So I think, is it going to be a dull moment, or does somebody have a breakout performance and really like stamp themselves as, hey, I'm top 5 pound for pound right here? So I think that would be the fight that I'm most looking forward to. Kind of a boring answer, but
I don't think it's necessarily a boring answer. I think that fight has a possibility, though, to be boring. I feel like
absolutely, yeah. I think it will be boring too. I think it's going to be boring. But
I just think the way that how defensively elite Shakur is, because the one thing about that fight, I think specifically here, is it's going to come down to what game plan, in my opinion, does Teofimo bring into the fight? What type of Teofimo is we going to come into? Is he going to try to play the long athletic game, going to try to do the Roy Jones thing? Or is he going to actually try to make it a grimy, gritty, more of an inside style of fight where he is bigger? He's not going to throw out nowhere near the volume of Zepeda. So we know he's not going to fight the fight that Zepeda did. So, and yeah. I saw a few people bring up the fact that Zepeda tagged Shakur a few times. When someone's throwing 1,000 punches, you're bound to get tagged a few times. That's just,
bro,
undeniable.
You want to talk about that? How many times did Steve Claggett fucking tag Teofimo? Did you see Teofimo's face after the Steve Claggett fight? So, I mean, come on. And you got Steve Claggett and William Zepeda. They're not even on the same level. So, and I thought even though Teofimo pretty much won every round, it was very, very competitive. Teofimo was forced to throw an all-time record, double his punch stats. I thought, so if you were to ask me, I thought Shakur handled the situation against a better opponent superior than Teofimo in that moment. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think one thing too as well, when we're looking at it from just a perspective of who's going to control the ring, I'm really curious to see who's going to control the ring. I think that's really going to determine overall. The judges are going to have that forward pressure optic if Teofimo chooses to come forward that you have in New York. But the one thing about Shakur is I just think he's really good at ring control and ring management. I don't think he's known as a runner, but I think he just controls the ring so well that it optically looks much more than running, in my personal opinion. So,
yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about the fight now since we're on the fight.
Oh, but, yeah, I'm sorry. I felt like that was just the segue into it at that point here.
Yeah, no, of course. This is how I've always felt about Teofimo. And people always said he rises to occasion. He doesn't like it when he's the underdog. But so he's hot and cold. I don't buy into that. I think it's a stylistic issue. And I'll tell you why. There's 4 fights right here I'm going to talk about with Teofimo. And all 4 were southpaw. 2 of his best performances and 2 of his worst performances. I'm going, for the sake of argument, just leave out George Kambosos. There was a lot leading up to that, a lot going to that. So I'm leaving out that. I'm going to talk about these 4 opponents right here. We know Teofimo and Josh Taylor, 2 southpaws, which everyone hangs their hat on. And then the other 2, which he struggles, Sandor Martin and Jermaine Ortiz, he switch hits. He's orthodox southpaw. He chose to fight a lot of that fight in southpaw. I thought Teofimo really struggled against Sandor and Jermaine Ortiz, and he kind of shined against Loma and Josh Taylor. But why is that? People will tell me, well, he's the underdog. They wrote him off in those. Yeah, but there's big style contrast there. For me, Josh Taylor, he comes forward, right? He can maul you at times. He loves the inside fight. The fight against Regis, which made him famous, so that was all battled on the inside. But was he coming really kind of off of the loss with Jack Catterall? We saw then afterwards how bad he was against Iko Usman. But style-wise, it really favored Teofimo because Teofimo at his best is a counterpuncher. Same with Lomachenko. Lomachenko is going to press you. He's going to give you angles and try to get on the inside and get his shots off. So he loves it when someone can come to him. That's when he thrives. Those are 2 styles right there that he thrived against. When he has to create his own offense, he can't. He's very limited on creating his own offense. He doesn't work behind the jab. He can't set traps, set shots up. He loves it when he has a Steve Claggett coming at him and he can shoulder roll, fight off the back foot, react to what you're throwing. But when he has to come up with a game plan against Sandor or Jamil Ortiz, so it wasn't an odds thing. For me, it was a style battle. It was a style matchup. Poor planning, poor prep. He just cannot create his own offense. And I think he's going to have something similar here. Look, Shakur, it's not that Shakur fights off the back foot. He can fight in the pocket. He's phenomenal at fighting in the pocket. He can fight on the front foot. But he's so versatile. He does everything so well. He checks so many boxes. So I think, it's, in my opinion, Shakur's fight to lose. Stop me at any time if you think I'm wrong on anything I'm saying here.
Oh, just so you know, no, my apologies. I was saying earlier that my allergies have been kicking my ass, and you're seeing it live right now. My eyes water up from my allergies. So that's all I'm doing is just like.
I thought you were crying for
nah, that's what it's probably really hit you. Like.
Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. That's what it's going to look like. I'm getting killed by allergies right now. So that's my apologies, Chill. But no, keep going. I'm loving everything you're saying because, in my opinion, you're giving me different angles of way I'm not. I always like listening to other people's tape breakdowns because it gives me other angles of how they see the fights.
Well, I mean, look, Teofimo, obviously, he can be hot.
The only thing I would add to that in terms of styles is I think when you have a counter puncher that relies on his athleticism, someone like Teofimo Lopez does, is he's going to have to land the perfect shots to have success with Shakur. I think a naturally athletic counter puncher isn't going to have that much success with someone like Shakur.
So I think style-wise, they're both counter punchers in my opinion, right? I think he did very well. Like he exceeds when he can. Shakur, when he can time your distance, he can move it in on the pocket well, and he can roll and catch you, right? His timing's phenomenal. But so for this fight, I can see it being somewhat of a standoff, and the person that I think is more patient, more disciplined, will make less mistakes is the person I'm going to back. So, and that's Shakur. I don't think Shakur is going to force anything, whereas I've seen Teofimo force things. I've seen him make the same mistake over and over. I've never seen that with Shakur. Shakur is, this is when I was saying earlier, it could be a fight where he potentially, launches you into an elite performance. Like, bro, if we see like a 9-3, 10-2 type of fight, which I'm not saying is going to happen, but I'm saying it could happen. I mean, that to me would be like, that would be pretty amazing. That would be an elite level special performance.
I think with the judges, with the style and optically, I actually think this fight's going to be somewhat like a majority decision type of fight. I think it'll be clear to the optics of how we see it from the fans' perspective. That'll be a clear 8-4, 9-3, even 7-5 kind of fight. But I think there's going to be a judge that's going to squeak in somewhere there for Teo or a draw. We're going to see someone like a majority decision kind of deal coming down the pipe. I think something like that's kind of afloat with just the judges that we have upon it. I mean, Max DeLuca's in this damn judging ring. So that's just also something to note too as well. This is the one fight that I'm really not looking to target from any gambling perspective, to be honest with you, just because this is a fight as a fan I really just want to appreciate. I just want to appreciate the fight. I just want to see how 2 pound-for-pound guys. I have a habit of doing this. I didn't bet on the Crawford-Canelo fight. I didn't bet on this fight. I didn't bet on the second Vitervia-Bivol fight. When these pound-for-pound kind of fights happen, I usually try to just enjoy them as a fan's sake. By the way, I'll get to all the comments here soon too as well. But do you have anything from a gambling angle that you would say in this fight? Are you going to bet on this fight? I should ask.
It's tough. Kind of what you were saying. I kind of want to enjoy it as a fan. But I like Shakur. I've always liked Shakur. I've liked Shakur against, when he was at 135 against everybody. So do I think, I would have picked Shakur heavily to beat Lomachenko. I would have picked Shakur heavily to beat Josh Taylor if those are his 2 best wins. I mean, Shakur to me is just even getting better. But I like Shakur here. I think it's going to be, like I said, Teofimo's problem is going to be creating offense. And if he forces things, he's going to get lit up. I don't think he's a pressure or offensive-minded fighter. I think he's a counterpuncher by nature. Those have always been his best performances. Arnold Barboza chose to do something that had him so much success against Jack Catterall, which was be patient and counter Jack. He went against Teofimo and tried to fight him on the front foot. And Teofimo just had a field day with him and countered him, So that was Shakur's not going to fight like that. I don't see that. So I like Shakur here pretty heavily. I like Shakur pretty heavily.
I think Shakur is also good at disguising his offense. When he does throw offense, is one thing is he doesn't come in the front door blind. He's always throwing out something to disguise and put out there before he's actually throwing the offense. So, again, I'm not gonna bet on it, and I do think Shakur wins this fight here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some judging fuckery afloat. To be honest with you, my fight of the night actually is just in that card, but it's also I think one of the potential to be the best fight of all of Saturday. Is I really like Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams, and I have a betting angle I kind of like on that fight too as well. Did you tape that at all?
Yeah, that fight's definitely going under the radar. I mean, that could be a main event on a card, but it's not getting talked about at all.
It's a great scrap, man. I mean, if I may just kind of rant off on like notes and what I saw tape wise on that one. One thing that I really like about Ammo Williams, man, that I don't think he gets enough credit for is his cardio and his grittiness. He's just tough. He's gritty, comes forward, willing to scrap. They're going to meet in the middle and they're going to fight. That's going to be undeniable. They're going to fight from the first bell. I almost guarantee. I don't see much of a feeling out process for either of these fighters. One thing about Adames, as we know, is he kind of checks off. You saw, a lot of people bring up the Teixeira performance. I also thought the Terrell Geisha performance was really underwhelming too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
He really just seems to check off in these fights, have moments of literally checking off mid-fight and mid-round. But Ammo Williams, man, he's long. He knows how to throw the jab, really athletic, really uses athleticism well, knows how to cover ground, good body puncher, good punch variety from Ammo Williams for someone that has been boxing his whole life too, as well, I've noticed. Someone like Carlos Adames, though, where I think he's really going to have success and thrive, is Ammo Williams has issues when people are changing the punch lanes on him. And the one thing about Carlos Adames is he changes his height and he changes his levels consistently bending his knees, consistently changing the level of which he's punching at and the level of which you're punching at. And I think this is going to give Ammo Williams, as the fight goes later on, a little bit of issues because Ammo Williams, as the fight goes into the later rounds, he loses his shape. Not his cardio. His breathing mechanisms look good. He looks like he can fight for a while, but he loses his literal shape. He starts to cross his feet, punch over his base, lose his hips. He exits with his chin high and his chin square, and I think that's especially where the level changes of Adames are going to come into play. Another thing about Adames, too, is I don't necessarily question his motivation in this fight. On his Instagram and stuff, he looks good. He looks like he's training hard. Another thing is you would think he's going to be pretty pissy after coming off a draw in which he clearly should have won. Watching it live, I had that fight 8-4 for Adames. Rewatching it, I had it 7-5 for Adames. So he won it clearly, in my opinion, both ways. So do you have any thoughts on? And so overall, I actually like this fight to kind of go downhill as the fight goes later. And I think Adames can kind of get a stoppage somewhere from rounds 9 to 12.
I had that. People cried robbery. I actually thought it was pretty close. I thought Adames could have done a lot more against Shiraz, who was injured. It was kind of Shiraz's fight to lose. There was a few rounds where he just didn't throw, and Adames looked busy by dancing around the ring.
If I may say level change, I do think Shiraz, that could have been a weight cut issue at 160 in general, because you saw against Ammo Williams, he had a really
not the same fighter. Plan. Yeah, it wasn't the same fighter.
Even in moments against Ammo Williams, though, he did the same thing where he just held his composure and just let Ammo just get a lot of work off, just tee off on work. So I think those last few fights at 160 were really, really rough on Shiraz, just from a weight cut perspective. He looks small too in both of them. To give, in my opinion, the credit where credit's due.
Makes sense. For this fight, I've never been high on Ammo. People that know me, I've wanted to fade him and have faded him before. And you would think then the same people would say, oh, so you're on Carlos Adames. You're on Carlos Adames. Well, no, I'm not big on Carlos Adames either. So I thought the fights that you mentioned, I thought the Terrell Gausha, people go on BoxRec, look at the scorecards, they're very wide. I thought it was a very close fight. Serhii Derevyanchenko, he got off to a great start, and then I thought he probably lost the last 4 rounds. And if that was a 12-rounder, he would have clearly lost. His gas tank was depleted. Carlos Adames can be lazy at times too. So I think this is priced because he got a draw, but people were screaming robbery against Shiraz. Obviously, they have a common opponent. Shiraz kind of put a beating on Ammo, stopped him. But I think this is going to be competitive. Not only that, I think Ammo has a real chance to win. Not just by – I think this could go to the distance. I think Ammo could squeak out a close decision. I really think he might take the back half of the fight. I think it's going to be close, though. I think it's going to be close.
You think there's some equity in I think what's Ammo like decision? Like
Ammo's at plus. Yeah, I don't know. I know the money line's plus 300, which I thought was pretty good.
I just don't. I mean, I know I know my boy Leargoal. I know my boy Leargoal. He's in the chat right now here. We got Nathan. I'm picking Ammo to go the distance. Adames was injured too in the Shiraz fight. Ammo almost lost to an extremely late replacement guy. Who was even that? I don't know if that was the Volney fight because I went back and watched the Volney fight. I considered fight not to go the distance for Ammo and Bronco. Both guys have enough power to hurt each other. They're going to swing dicks in the middle. That's a guarantee. That is a guarantee. Just kind of running through these comments now, and I'll run back through some of them later. This is one of those fights where I was kind of understanding the line. And again, I'll eat crow if I come back here. I just don't see Ammo winning this fight because, again, the way he loses his shape. The later the fight goes, the way he loses his shape. And I know Adames does check off, but I think Adames has enough punishing body work, especially on the inside, to where I think Ammo has good inside fighting, but I think Adames is just a little bit more polished. He knows how to use the underhooks, the clinches a little bit better. He knows how to get under the elbows a little bit better, knows how to turn off the angles just slightly more. And Ammo pulls his chin very high too as well. So, I mean, I understand the value in terms of the money line, but this is the one where I just think Adames is kind of, I think Adames is going to look good here. I think Adames is going to look good here.
Let me just say, I'm a little older than you, so I've been watching these guys a little bit longer, and I'll say this with Carlos Adames because he's from that old school of 154. 154 back when I used to love the 154 division, and he's the last man standing. I'm talking about J. Rock Williams, Hurd. You had Jason Banana Rosario, right? You had Erickson Lubin now who just fell off. These are Eris Lara who's on his way out. These were all guys at 154 that were all in wars together, right? Bronco's like pretty much the last, and I'm waiting for him to cliff fall. I really am. And I think this could be the fight now where he kind of cliff falls because he was at 154 for a while. He had that loss. I don't know if Patrick Teixeira was at 154 or 160, but yeah, man. I personally, listen, I'm not confident in Ammo. I'm saying for me, it's dog or pass. I'm not confident in Adames. This is what I'm saying. I'm not confident in Adames. Like tell me,
someone told me that Adames has been a fade spot for a while too, as well. So I mean,
that's kind of like, yeah, it's in my head. It's kind of hard for me to I guess like vocalize it, but that's kind of what I've seen before. I don't trust him. Not that I trust Ammo because I don't at all. So it's not a smash spot, but for me, man, I could definitely see him losing. And yeah, I kind of Honestly, that's it.
I don't think there's many smash spots pre-fight this weekend, to be honest. There are so many good cards here in this weekend, in my opinion, that the live betting is where you're going to make most of your proportionate money. You know, of course, people are going to make their parlays and things of that nature. There's some spots, but I think I like it. Like I said, I like Adames to get it done here. For you, it's dog or pass, so I understand. To answer your question, I think Adames is 36. Let me check that just to be safe here. I think he's 36. Oh, damn. Carlos Adames is only
he's younger.
He's only 31 years old.
I mean, yeah, same with Erickson Lubin. It's the wars, though. It's the war. Like, Erickson Lubin is young, but it's the wars that now he's just fell off, right?
He's just been boxing forever. He really has been boxing
Do you know what fight the Patrick Teixeira, what weight class that was at?
It was at 154.
It was at 154.
Shout out to 200 little man. 154. So I just really liked what I saw. I rated Adames' last performance, and I didn't rate Ammo's last performance very good against Volney. Like, I just did not like the way he looked. He looked lethargic, and he seems like he has the same problem fight over fight. But this is the last thing I'll add to it, and then we'll move on to another fight, though. I will say, if you're going to bet Ammo Williams, this is probably, I think TJ brought up this point, looking for the time to fade Carlos Adames. And Ammo Williams is someone that hasn't been boxing in his career, means he's going to start peaking at some point here soon, especially since I think he's only like 28 years old, right? 28, 29.
Yeah, he picked up late. He's learning on the job. So it's one of those, like, see Fabio Wardley, he's kind of getting better and better.
He's an athletic freak too, as well. It's just like a heavyweight I'm looking at this weekend in Kingsley Abbey over Jarrell Miller. This kind of comes back to the same principles we were just discussing. Jarrell Miller, former steroid treat, 37 years old, had issues with his discipline just in general, versus Kingsley Abbey, who's had 2 losses. Yeah, bad loss versus Waldo Costa-Cortez, who's a top 10 UFC heavyweight now, and Jared Big Baby Anderson. When Jared Big Baby Anderson was the guy at that moment, top ranks baby at that point. Went to a draw with Guido Canelo, never been 10 rounds as Kingsley Iba, but he's now sponsored by Adidas Boxing. He has some financial backing to him. He's training at a real gym now in Brick House Boxing Club in Los Angeles, not training at some downtown Sunny Slope, Arizona gym that he was originally at with no heavyweight sparring partners. that number for me, that's the definition of a dog or a pass. I wouldn't touch Jarrell Miller with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't put him on a parlay. And Kingsley Abe at plus 430 is absolutely insane in my personal opinion. He could get smoked, especially as the fight goes later, but I kind of like a little touch on Kingsley Abe. So is there any fight that you want to discuss next? What's the next fight that you would like to discuss?
Let me just say,
you want to stay on that one.
The thing with Big Baby is tomorrow. You gotta see how he looks at the weigh-in. Is he over 300? Is he under 300? Look, I picked him to beat Andy Ruiz. I'm not. I thought he did beat Andy Ruiz.
I also thought he beat Andy Ruiz.
But yeah, this is the thing. Kingsley, Iba, he was very raw when he fought Guido. He's definitely gotten better. And technically he's really not sound, but I mean, this is heavyweight boxing. Sometimes it comes down to your will and who's got the better gas tank. So yeah, heavyweights. Yeah, I wouldn't touch Baby Miller pre-odds either. I touched him against Andy Ruiz. He was like plus 400, I think. He was something crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a close fight. You know what? I would touch the draw. I would touch the draw in that fight. I could see that being close.
And it's only a 10. That's actually, that's a good shout too as well. It's a 10-round. It's a 10-rounder too as well. Some
of these rounds are going to be hard to split. I think it's going to be a sloppy chest to chest inside fight, and kind of like what Ruiz and Miller was, right? All of a sudden you're like, hey, who won that round? I think it's close. Who are they shading it to? Before you know it, it's 6-4 either way.
I also could see, actually, that's a good shout, because I could see something very much like that, a sloppy heavyweight. They're both kind of tentative of each other's power, kind of thinking of one's athleticism. So stuff like that, man. So, which is also too as well for everyone that doesn't know, I'm slightly biased to Kingsley too as well. I want to see him succeed in this game specifically. So that is one thing that I think is important to note, is that Jarrell Miller's age is 37 years old. At heavyweight, it holds a little bit better because it's a slower pace. Don't really have to hold your
Kingsley
shape.
Not young though either. He's up there.
He's 32.
Is he? I thought he was older.
He's 32. No, he's like
He was like 36. I thought he was older for some.
Let me fact check myself just to be safe here.
I thought I checked it when he was fighting Gerald Washington.
The only reason
Gerald Washington was like 42, 43. He was up there in age, one of his last fights.
Yeah, because I had a communication class with him at community college, and that's why I'm like, he's not that old, man. Yeah, I think
awesome.
That's why I'm saying that's the only reason I know who he is, which is
he's 32.
So he's
I didn't know that.
Years old.
That changes things a little bit. So, and he had a full camp, so he might be able to take the later rounds. I think this is a close fight.
I think this is like this is kind of where we were talking about the last fight. This is where you fade someone and someone's peaking, right? Where I think if he's going, this is kind of where he's going to peak at boxing. 32 years old. He's finally, like I said, at a real gym. I just like to stab at Kingsley personally, or it's just just reckoning for you guys not to put it in your personal parlay here. Really good guy. And he's an athletic freak, man. He's an athletic freak. That is undeniable. So just some things to note, man. What are your thoughts on Josh Kelly versus Bakram Murtazaliev? I want to hear that.
Man, this is another thing about how I say tomorrow's important for the weigh-in with Big Baby. I think tomorrow's important for Bakram. Bakram does not look good. He's huge at 154. I think this is the IBF, so they're going to have the rehydration clause also. Look, but I mean, the more I take Bakram, the more I'm unimpressed with him. I know he kind of he throws shots. He drops his hands. His footwork can kind of be a mess sometimes. He's obviously very, very heavy-handed. Defensively, he's not that defensively sound. Tim Tszyu was a perfect opponent for him. Who they stood in front of each other and just traded power shots, right? So, completely different style that he's going to have in front of him. And Josh Kelly, who Josh Kelly loves to use every inch of the ring. He loves to be twitchy. He changes levels. He's going to be throwing shots from all angles. But myself and everyone else that talk about Josh Kelly are, how's his gas tank going to be, and can he do it for 12 rounds? Which I don't think he can do it for 12 rounds. Is he going to fade after 6? Is he going to fade after 8? How much pressure is Bakram going to put on? But can he survive? Because let me say this: if the first 6 rounds, if Josh Kelly clears 4 of the first 6. Now, the back half, all he needs is at least 2. You win 2 more rounds, you win 6 rounds in the UK, you're going to win the fight. So that's very, very possible for me. So if he can survive, I think he could. I think Kelly can win a decision here.
Good odds on it. I mean, money's coming in on Josh Kelly. Money's been slowly floating in
That's
on Josh
normal.
Kelly.
It's UK bias, no matter who it is. Yeah,
but
they love to bet.
I think we're going to see a bit more than normal money coming in on Josh Kelly. I think we're going to get Bachram. I think Bachram's going to be put at a good number. So here's a few things for me is Josh Kelly took a fight's worth of punishment, a literal fight's worth of punishment against Davis in the 12th round alone. He cuts and he's busted up easy. These are things beyond the X's and O's to talk about. Let me pull up this photo because I think this is a photo that showed really good. The scar tissue on Josh Kelly's eye worries me. For alone, he's cut easy, he's busted easy. Bachram, you know what I am impressed with him on tape? His volume. He throws out a lot of volume, a lot more volume than I think anyone even really discusses. And he does punch hard, but when you mix in the fact that he punches with shovel hooks to the body and he throws out a lot of volume, even though he's slow plodding. Ligor has a good point and says, when's the last time that Bachram had to fight somebody they had to go find? Kelly will give him fits early. I agree there. I think we can see Kelly up 3-1, 4-2, something very early. But the one thing is Josh Kelly does get found, and we saw with the David Avanesian fight, consistent volume pressure, putting his back against the ropes, consistent body punching. And I know that fight was during COVID, so it was a rough travel, a little bit different here for Josh Kelly.
Also 147, right? I think the weight class is a big thing.
I didn't know that. Was that Josh Kelly fight at 147 there?
I think Ray Robinson and David Ava might have both been at 147.
Yeah, it was at 147. That was his last fight at 147. So you had.
I think since he hit 154, I always felt like he looked so much better, more energetic.
I think. Well, he looked really good in that Troy Williamson fight. That's another fight that I went and found. But the one thing about Josh Kelly, with Josh Kelly is there's the blueprint to beat him. There is the blueprint to beat him, in my personal opinion. I don't think Josh Kelly is going to be able to hold for 12 rounds without getting touched and eventually get beat up to the body. See, Josh Kelly winning this fight wouldn't surprise me. It's not one of those things that's like would be a huge upset to me, but I just would be more so than anything surprised if he doesn't get at some point found in this fight. And I just think the eventual body punching and the eventual aggression and forward punching that Bachram does put together. And I think Bachram's power is good, but I think it may be slightly overrated. I think it's the volume and the amount of damage he puts on fighters that's really good. Like, that's the one thing that I was impressed with when I walked away from the tape. And when the Jack Colque fight, a lot of people weren't impressed with his performance against Jack Colque. He was on Ramadan, and he had to go through the fire of not eating and the horrendous weight cut, and he still got the 11th round finish. So, I don't know. And I wasn't impressed by the Davis performance. And everyone brings up the time and inactivity off. Since Bachram has fought in Tim Tszyu, Josh Kelly has only fought in one round against Flavia Bia, which was an incredible body shot finish. And he looked great for that single round, but it was only one round. So it's not like the inactivity is going to be favoring either which way. So weight, I agree. We have to see how he looks on the weight and the scale, but you're leaning Josh Kelly decision, and I'm leaning a late round Bachram stoppage. Is that what it's seeming?
Ah, man. I think, when this fight was made, I thought Bachram would win. I still lean Bachram. Man, I want to say Bachram on points. I think Josh Kelly can.
GK, really quickly, if I may say, the reason I brought up both fights is because both had an asterisk next to them, correct? What is the end point of both asterisks? One walked through the fire and one got burned in the fire. So, I just wanted to point out that comment because both can have an excuse, right? Both can have an asterisk, but both had completely different outcomes. So, sorry about that. Real quick, I just wanted to touch on that. ChillTown.
All good. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I like the value on Josh Kelly though, and I tell you, it's in Newcastle. Josh Kelly's.
That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge if it goes to the cards. Undeniably.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge. I agree, by the way, Seagar. I think Jack Colque is underrated. He has a good resume if he only loses to pretty good guys. He's like in that Indo Jenny kind of class where Indo Jenny only loses to good guys, He's not no Sergey, for example, but
yeah, no, I think it's a close fight. I see why the odds are close. So, but I think the value more so is with Kelly. But I got to see the weigh-in tomorrow with Bachram.
I think the value is really in a live play for this fight. And let me just tell you why. I mean, if you want to play Josh Kelly by decision, You brought something up to me a few weeks back, which actually looking into it is incredible. You said what are Backrum's or what are Josh Kelly? What's Josh Kelly's rounds 1 through 6 and 7 through 12 props? And those numbers are absolutely huge. If Backroom looks bad on the scale, you kind of have to stab him. They're like 29 to 1
said that,
and 25 to 1.
I said that because I rewatched the Colquet fight, and I noticed that it seemed like he was hurt, wobbled a few times. He was very hittable in that fight.
The 5th round, the 6th round, and I want to say the 8th or the 9th, one of those two, the 8th or the 9th. But yes.
And I get the Ramadan, like people bring that up, but that's not in my head when I'm watching the fight. I'm watching that and I'm expecting possibly the same version. If I have that version against someone sharp puncher like Josh Kelly, who rips it well to the body, he's very accurate. I mean, is there a chance that he does the unexpected? No, nobody really expected Dalton Smith to stop Matias either. But
it's funny is there was a lot more people that had tickets on Dalton Smith KO than I even noticed. A bunch of people were in the Discord going crazy.
Same.
I was like,
yeah, but the price on Josh Kelly isn't like it was like plus 4,000 or something on some of these props.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at it, bro, it's insane. His round 1 through 3 prop is plus 5,000. His round 4 through 6 is plus 4,800. Like crazy numbers to where you could break it down and however you want to do your units, and it's like profitability if he gets a knockout either which way in those cases. So do either of you think Kelly can hurt Backrum? Yeah, I mean, I think he'll land. He may come down to how effective he is. I mean, shit, if Backrum really looks that bad on the scales, why not?
It's the scale. It would have to be the weight. Yeah, the weight would have to have him.
Because Backrum's a big, sturdy ass fool, man. Big, sturdy motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
Backrum gets frustrated. I just think Backrum fights like, I kind of said this earlier being funny, but I actually mean this. Backrum grew up 5,000 feet above sea level in a village made of sticks and stones where he grew up with a hammer that he used to go smack rocks with to make toys. Josh Kelly's name's Pretty Boy, and he's a British Olympian. Since when did everybody start loving British Olympians? And I do want to leave that fight on that note, really, because that's just the last thing I want to put in consideration. Even though Josh Kelly, he's pretty good. He's good. I'm not saying Josh Kelly isn't good, and it wouldn't surprise me if he won. I just think this is a tall hill to climb. And it's crazy as a shout out to BT from True Sports, because he actually said that really Backrum's the one climbing a lot of hills. B-side for technicality in Matchroom, going away from the hometown, fighting the weight alone. He's fighting the hometown crowd. He's fighting the judges. He's fighting Eddie Hearn. And he's going to be now fighting a true weight cut, because you saw them too at the weigh-ins today. Josh Kelly, or at the press conference today, Josh Kelly looked great. Josh Kelly's face looked great. He didn't look like he was having issues whatsoever. And I will say Backrum was at least smiling and laughing through the press conference, so he wasn't looking like he was dead on the inside. But, dude, his nose was sunken in. It was actually insane.
They would probably love Backrum to lose. They would love nothing more than that. The marketability is what Josh Kelly
the boogeyman, to beat the boogeyman, and they already supposedly signed on to fight Boots if that were to happen. So
there you go.
Dalton Smith is known puncher mode. I get the sentiment. Guys, of all the fights happening, which one do you see the shit fest like Frazier TKV? I think Ammo. Oh, hell nah. Ammo versus Adames will be a slugfest from the jump. No way that's a shit fest. We already said that we think Kingsley eBay versus Big Baby could be one of those like really slow kind of grimy, shitty one. I just rewatched the Avanesian fight. I ain't touching Kelly. Chill Bit did bring up a great point that I didn't even put into consideration for my tape studies. That fight was at 147. So that is also important to note that it was at 147. Kiza, ask Chill about Shushu versus Carrington. Well, I'll ask him about Carlos Castro versus Shushu, brother. You got any thoughts on that?
I mean, look, I'm so unimpressed with Shu against his last opponent. Was supposed to be a showcase, goodbye, top-ranked fight, a highlight reel knockout against a what would I even call him? Like a club, an African club fighter,
a Ghanaian club bouncer.
A club, yeah, right. And what did he do with it? He didn't look great, special, elite. Like all this hype was like you have to put somebody on the pedestal on all the hype that's around them, because Top Rank is hyping him up. And when I see a performance that doesn't match the hype, you have to call it out. And this isn't the first time either. So, yeah, I mean, he looks good against some certain styles. And then I haven't seen it. He looked flat. Now, this is a big stage. I don't like that he's getting gifted a title shot. It seems like Carlos Castro's coming off a loss, over a year layoff, and he's getting a title shot. So it's like it looks like they're trying to give Shushu a layup, but it could backfire on him.
Carlos Castro's long. He has some pop, pretty tough. Shout out to my boy Leargoal, because he actually said to go watch the Figgy stoppage that he said was bullshit, and I did. And realistically, that fight couldn't have been stopped. Like, suspect ass stoppage to say the minimum.
That fight was a close fight too. I think it was dead, like almost dead even or something when I remember watching it. That's a lot of Figgy fights. A lot of Figgy fights are very close.
I mean, we can even talk if you have thoughts on Nick Ball versus Figgy before you go, actually, because I'm interested in that fight coming up next week. I've never been overly impressed with Shushu either which way. Never been overly impressed with there's my boy Leargoal right there. What up, player? I've never been impressed with Shushu either which way. I've been kind of a known Shushu hater. I don't think there's a champion at 126 or an interim champion at 126 that he beats. That's a personal opinion of mine.
So not Inoue? You don't think he's all that Inoue talk?
Listen, he doesn't beat Inoue, he doesn't beat Miracle Coelho, he doesn't beat Nick Ball, he doesn't beat Hoffa, and he doesn't beat Angelo Leo. That's it. I stand my pedestal of that. I don't think he beats any of those guys. That's and I get a lot of pushback for the Nick Ball one, especially. I don't think he beats any of those guys personally, and he definitely doesn't beat my guy Inoue.
I'd like to see him against Robesi Ramirez. I think that would be a good fight. But Castro's not a typical Mexican. Like, he likes to fight. He can fight at range and he can counterpunch. He punches in between your shots. He's not just an all-action pressure Mexican fighter, which Shushu tends to do well against. I think Castro's going to pick his spots, and he's got a very good right hand. I think it's going to be a close fight. I really do. I think it's going to be a close fight. I don't know why Shushu's a 10-1 favorite. That seems outrageous to me. As soon as I saw those odds when they opened up, I said, this is off. Like, Carlos Castro is good.
You can get Castro decision at plus 15-1 on some books. It's insane. I think Castro does a good job punching down and has really good chopping punches. He's not a high volume puncher, clearly, but his body work is good, man. Carlos Castro has some underrated body work, and he does a good job at not getting stuck on an inside fight. And I think all of these things actually can help him versus Shushu. I think these are all things that actually help him versus Shushu. 200 Little Man literally just kind of stole it out of my head. He's fire on the inside. He's really good on the inside. So these are just different things that I think you can look up to as well, mate. So yeah, man, I think the odds are a little bit insane for when it comes to it. Definitely a good live call to check out. But I'll tell you what, Shushu's going to be in New York. He's going to be rocking a New York outfit. You know, the crowd's going to be going crazy for him. These are still, it's in New York. So these are all things to keep in mind, man. Yeah,
Carlos, I mean, if this fight is close, I can't see them giving it to Carlos Castro.
No chance.
I mean, right?
No
if that was the case, they would have gave it to him over Steph Fulton. So
Jefferson, to answer your question, it's not that easy to find Jacob Bank tape. I didn't find like full fights of Jacob Bank tape and stuff, but I do have quick thoughts on it. I've taped William Skull, and I don't wish that upon my greatest enemy to have to go and tape William Skull like that. William Soul gets stuck on the back foot. Good counter and pop fighter, and he has some good defensive mechanism, but he literally gets stuck on the back foot. He's going to Denmark, where Denmark is itching for a boxing star against a big puncher that will work the body, from what I remember about Jacob Bank. And if Jacob Bank's on the front foot and front gas, he's going to have all the optics in the world to win in his hometown country of Denmark, where 2 of the judges are from Denmark. Keep all of that in mind in the home country of Denmark. So Jacob Bank may not be the worst dog shot stab, but don't go crazy on it, because Jacob Bank tape is not that easy to come by. Unless you have a lot of tape done on it, you let them know if you have even thoughts on it.
Look, I'll say this. That would be some karma, because I thought William Skull, who's Cuban but based out of Germany, the German fighter, got German favoritism when he fought against Shishkin. Germany. Dude, I thought Shishkin beat him.
100% thought Shishkin beat him when I was doing my Iglesias tape.
That's the hometown cooking that you're talking about, that we've talked about. This is boxing. We saw it recently with Jesse Hart and co. You know, whether it's your hometown or you're just a promotional A side, and so much money's invested in this fighter that they're not going to leave it. They're not going to leave it to the other guy. You just punched me in the
heart bringing up Jesse Hart, man. You just punched me in the chest bringing up Jesse Hart. That was
it's every weekend. There's a fight every weekend that there's a fighter that gets jobbed on the cards. It's just the name of the game, right? It happens.
I'm gonna be at the matchroom fights here for Navarrete and Sugar, and if I see Eddie Hearn, I'm gonna let him know he's a pussy for that one. I'm gonna let him know.
Yeah. I think he knows. Yeah, he knows. But yeah, please
Rondo,
do tell him.
brother?
Let him know again. Keep letting him know.
I promise you, when I say I'm gonna let him know he's a for that one, I'm like, bro, you're lame as hell. How do you reward the guy? How do you guys reward the guy that came in unprofessionally 7 pounds overweight?
Almost 8. That's unheard of. I'm surprised the commission even let it go in. Do you know how many punches he
landed total in the last 2 rounds? My bad, TJ. My bad for cutting you off.
Go ahead. No, but I think he won the last 2 rounds on the judges' scorecard still.
Do you know how many punches he landed total in the last 2 rounds?
How many?
5. I looked at it today. 2 and 3. I was hot today because one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, what do we like?" I was like, "Bro, pre-flop, I'm not doing shit," because I was still distraught about that Jesse Hart shit, man. It was the best, man.
That's fucked
up.
Oh,
I know a lot of people want to talk about Xander Zayas versus Abbas Barao. You want to chop it up about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious why Xander Zayas he really wanted this fight. So he has sparring before. They know each other well. It's in Puerto Rico. Man, Abbas Barao is obviously coming off his best win. His momentum is like sky high. Oh, I think stylistically, it's a really tough fight for Xander. But he seems ultra confident. Like he knows his fighter really well, which kind of makes me confident in Xander. So especially knowing, look, if you're gonna beat Xander in Puerto Rico, top ranks, last few stars, he's young. They're tapped into the Puerto Rican market. Like Abbas is really gonna have to hurt him or win nine rounds clear. I feel like for him to win this. So that leaves you Xander's probably a good bet.
I want to say this: if you bet on Chino Garcia, if you look to the fade Xander Zayas versus Chino Garcia, you have to take Abbas. That's just what it is. Xander's coming to the end of his run at 154 to where the weight may be an issue, and Abbas puts out better volume and better pressure.
He's better than Chino.
Way better. Country mile. I like Chino Garcia as a fighter. I like him watching him as a fan, but I'm not overly impressed with him to where I think he's that high level. If I do not sound disrespectful, I don't think he's all that high level, man.
He's not. The Charles Conwell fight really flattered him.
Yeah, he really rise to the occasion in that fight. But when you watch the tape besides that, it's not as high level as you think. So if you bet on Chino in that fight, you have to take Abbas. But my opinion, FanDuel has Xander Zayas by knockout at plus 750. I already stabbed that because the odds are insane. Like you get Xander Zayas by knockout at plus 500, plus 450, plus 425. You're giving me over $2.50 of value. I had to stab that pre, and it's probably going to rise round by round because Abbas Barao's a tough motherfucker.
Yeah,
I also
he
think
is.
Xander Zayas growing into his body and his shape means he could possibly sit down and thump a little bit harder. These are all things I'm taking into consideration when you take in the value. I mean, if you're getting something over $2.50 over value market like that, you have to take Xander Zayas by knockout.
Look,
and you have
Tellez
to
couldn't keep him off. That was Tellez's issue. He couldn't keep up with the volume or keep him off. Do you think Zayas has the tools to keep him off?
Tellez also has shitty feet. Tellez's feet are not good. He gets stuck on the ropes. Xander Zayas knows how to pop shot off the ropes and turn.
He's got good angles. Yeah,
really good angles.
Good pivots.
And one thing is, he lines up his shots. It's just, does he have the thump really to power through those shots is what we're kind of looking to see. Xander Zayas, man, in my opinion, I think Xander Zayas is the complete package fighter. I think he's a complete package fighter. I'm high on Xander Zayas. It's in his home country. I like Abbas Barao too as well. But also, by the way, little man, thank you very much for the Zog shout too as well. I'll go check the zone. But I think Xander Zayas is being set up here for a good spot. And I think you brought it up perfectly. He asked for this fight, many rounds of sparring. I wouldn't doubt if Xander Zayas got him out of there later rounds. And I think if you're going to take a pre-flop stab, I did take a pre-flop stab on Xander Zayas by knockout at plus 750 on FanDuel because, again, $2.50 off market value. You have to take it. So,
yeah. No, I've never seen Abbas hurt, but Xander's obviously, for me, I think he's getting better. For that, a few years ago, they were trying to hype him up. I didn't see it. I thought he was somewhat of a gimmick, but
You saw the Spalmer fight, and you were like, all right.
he's gotten a lot better, man. He's gotten a lot better. He was also young. He still is young, right?
And I was really impressed with his Chino performance. The way
very mature. Yeah, very mature.
He toured Chino around that ring and held the ring control and distance, man, was absolutely insane.
He doesn't do anything, I want to say great, but he does everything very, very good. Like you were saying, he's a complete fighter, which if you can do everything very good, yeah, you can win a belt easily. So that's hard to come by.
Yeah, I mean, I like Xander Zayas, man. I think he's set up for a good spot here too as well. He's in his home country of Puerto Rico. So there's just a lot of good things too. Is there any other fights that you want to touch on that maybe I may have we touched on all the big ones here for you.
Keyshawn.
How'd I miss on the Keyshawn one? What are your thoughts on that one here specifically?
I think there's a lot of question marks with Keyshawn. So obviously 140, we're going into that. The layoff, the weight miss with De Los Santos. Yeah. New team. Was he in camp with Shakur? I think he may have been, which is good if he was.
They were taking photos, dropping merch together, so I assume so.
Yeah. And then, he needs really I feel like a breakout performance at 140. Could this be it? People are telling me they think it's going to be a really close fight. I can see that. Jermaine Ortiz is always in close fights, right? So, man, but there's something about Keyshawn. I always thought, when they turned pro, him and Andy at the same time, I was very vocal about, no, it's cool that Andy beat him, 3-4 times in the amateurs, but I got Keyshawn all day in the pros if they were to fight. I just thought he has a very pro style. Can be aggressive, and he has heavy power in both hands, and he has like an it factor where he'll step on your neck and not let off, right? I can see him growing into that at 140. I think he's got an it factor to him. I just hope he proves it right. I personally think that he could stop Ortiz in this. I know it's a long shot. Ortiz really has not been hurt besides the Joseph Adorno fights. Yeah.
He's good at surviving too. Or Jermaine Ortiz is one of those. He's like good at defensively shelling up and fighting on such a low volume pace, turning down the pace of a fight. It's one thing he does really well. It changes the gears of a fight.
Yeah, he does.
When watching Jermaine Ortiz, his punch mechanics are good, and the way he controls the volume of the fight are what I'm mostly impressed with by him. But I don't think he's as great of a dog as everyone is making him seem. But I wouldn't touch Keyshawn Davis. I legitimately, unless I'm watching this live, I have to see how he looks live. Way too many factors, bro. Like you brought it up perfectly.
I'll be shocked if he loses. I really will. I'll be shocked. I can't see Jermaine Ortiz beating. How does he beat him? I don't think he hurts Keyshawn, so he'd have to beat him on points. Is Jermaine Ortiz the type that's going to win 6 rounds, 7 rounds? He's not a phenomenal round winner. Like even the Yomar Alamo fight, he was catching shots from Yomar Alamo. I rewatched the Jamal Herring. I picked Jermaine Ortiz when he was the underdog. Not many people were, mostly because Jamal Herring was old and coming up in weight for that fight. He was at 130 forever, coming off, I think, the beating from Shakur. I was like, Jermaine Ortiz is going to beat him. Jermaine Ortiz is good. He's athletically good. He's a poor man's version of Teofimo. I know they fought before, but he's very athletically gifted, and he has the skills, but I feel like he's missing something. Man, I don't know. Yeah, he's not in the Jamal Herring fight. He was getting hit a lot in between shots. I felt like his athleticism takes him a little further. I picked him to beat Lomachenko, but he gassed out. That was a big thing. Up until by the 8th round, I thought he was up, and then Loma turned it on, and he kind of turned it down. So, and that was Loma's small at 135. You're talking Keyshawn's going to be bigger than him at 140. And
Keyshawn looked good at the photos today that they were taking. He looked thick, filled out. Keyshawn's always been a big puncher, a good body puncher too as well. About Keyshawn, he has good punch variety to the body.
He's on fire. The Denis Berinchyk, I was very heavy on him to win. Denis Berinchyk is somebody Jermaine Ortiz would go 12 rounds with. Like, let's be honest. Yeah,
he made easy money of Denis Berinchyk in that one. That was
some of these guys. He's like Anthony Yiggett, who's a good fighter. He just blast these guys out of there, dominating every minute and then just blasting them out of there. Yeah, so
I don't think Jermaine Ortiz wins this fight, but again, I just am not running to the finish line to bet on Keyshawn Davis at minus, what is he, 800 right now?
Is he now? Yeah, he opened at like -5, then -6, and now it's probably just going. I mean, I like him. I like him.
I
to
wouldn't
win.
mind if Jermaine Ortiz got a few early rounds off to get a good live number. Like those are the things I'm more than okay with to take. That
he's a
later.
fast starter. He's a fast starter. So
a little front runner. So
yeah,
we have a few front runners fighting this weekend. There are a few front runners fighting this weekend, surprisingly. So I think that's why I keep saying that this weekend is going to be a great live betting spot all the way around, man. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this weekend, just in general.
Yeah, no, it's you know what? If there wasn't so many fights going on, I'd be at the Garden. I would have loved to go, but you got I can't watch the Xander fight at the same time, and then the Josh Kelly fight's going on. Adam Azim was supposed to fight, that got canceled. His card's still on though, but they put them all on at the same date. But
yeah, can't be missing out on a lot of, me personally being the degenerate that I can be at times. I also don't like to miss out on the live betting opportunities. So
yeah, well, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of good ones with all these cards. And I already have bets laid out, so just in case, I gotta be watching. It's gonna be hard for me to enjoy it and then still check up on all these fights going on. So I just
100%.
Yeah.
So there's one last fight. Did you check out any of the Pro Box TV card coming up tomorrow?
Not. I'm familiar with the fighters, but I don't have any action on them.
I think I'm leaning towards Brian Flores over Starling Castillo.
Yeah.
And let me just break down and think a little bit why. I think Starling Castillo can have moments of getting stuck on that back foot, skirting against the ropes too much, pulling a little bit of a Timu version of Alberto Puello in a way. Southpaw, good rear uppercut, sting on his punches, decent movement, but not great movement. And I think Flores is someone that gets clipped a lot. I notice he gets clipped a lot, man. It's insane.
He's very hittable. He's Mexican.
It's very hittable. But he touches the canvas, and he doesn't necessarily seem to hurt him a lot, but he drops and he touches the canvas. I like Brian Flores in this one because I think the power and the overall just consistent inside work and the consistent way that he's on you like a fly on shit. He's literally just on you, thudding the body, throwing the left hand up top, pinging the left hand down the pipe, willing to eat one to give two. And I just think that's going to give Starling Castillo some issues. A lot of money's came in on Starling Castillo. He opened up as a plus 145 from what I saw, and he's already at even money now. So I'm actually hoping money continues to come in on Starling Castillo because I'm going to stab Brian Flores. And at even money, I love him. At plus money, I extra love him. So that's just something to keep in mind. Is there any
I was leaning Flores. I thought he was going to run numbers. So,
and I think if you are leaning him too, I do think it's a good bet, TJ, personally, and especially if we get him at plus money. So, is there any other fights too? Because I know we've been going for about an hour here. Is there any last fights that you want to cover up, or any bets, or anything you want to touch on, or anything in boxing related that you want to talk about?
No, if anyone has any questions, if anyone has any questions, if you want to,
it's perfect. We'll open it up for
the comments. Yeah.
Dominican struggle with pressure. Saracho put him on the ropes and teed off. Iglesias, the real boogeyman at 168. Canelo coming back and not fighting for a reason. Yeah, Iglesias is having a hard time fighting fights in general.
Yeah, honestly, that's just a low reward, high risk. Who's going to want to fight him?
A huge cracking southpaw that can actually fight for later rounds. He looked good against Shishkin, man. His cardio looked good in that 8th round against Shishkin. I was actually very impressed with how his cardio held up. He has moments of not enough activity, does Iglesias, but if he put out just a little bit more activity, man, he'd be unbeatable. I really want to see a fight between him and someone like a Mabili or something of that nature. I would like to see it. Him versus a pressure fighter that likes to get inside. Rando asked, what's your top 3 picks for Saturday, ChillTown?
Top 3 picks? Man. I don't have anything. I don't have any sexy picks yet. So I'm telling you, I really like Shakur. I'll tell you that. I really like Shakur. I think that's a good pick.
From our discussion, it seems like Shakur and Keyshawn, the Brody parlay is about locked in for you then in that case.
Shakur, Keyshawn, I have a bunch of parlays with them closing out, right? So
they're your anchors,
anchors, yeah. Anchors with Shakur, Keyshawn, Just at the time, there was pretty good pricing. You're going to get better pricing on Shakur. I knew that already. I figured a lot of money would come in on Teofimo. I was hoping more, but because he opened up a little bit wild, a little bit disrespectful to Teofimo. I just look at it different.
I mean, honestly, man, in terms of just pure safeness, I mean, I think you could add Zayas because Abbas is going to have to knock out Zayas in Puerto Rico, in my personal opinion. I really do. Like, I really think he's going to have to knock out the young Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico for that to happen, for him to take that fight. I don't see him winning on the scorecards in Puerto Rico. I just don't.
Yeah, or dominate. Yeah.
And it's not like Subriel Matias, where like Xander Zayas has the viability to become a commercial star. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Oh, there's big money behind him. Yeah.
Like, and Xander, man, he is going to be like, can you think about even in a year or two, a fight down the line at 160 between Xander Zayas and Carlos Adames? Like, a cracker of a fight. Or Aaron McKenna, when Aaron McKenna finally starts coming through these ranks and he actually wins a title at 160, because Aaron McKenna will be a champion at 160. Mark my words. A fight between Xander Zayas and Aaron McKenna, come on. Yeah. Puerto Rico versus Aaron McKenna's Irish, correct?
Yeah. No, that's a big fight. Do it at the Garden. Yeah.
Like, imagine that fight, man. I know I'm getting a little bit too far over my bridges here, but I like talking about future possible fights. Those are some of my favorite things.
I mean, right there, if you put Shakur, Xander, and Keyshawn all money line, that's plus money right there.
Yeah, like, honestly, that's a great play. That really is a great play in terms of who should win.
Yeah. I mean,
suspect value when it comes to Teofimo Lopez. Rando, Keyshawn over, Abbas over, Teo fight over. Thoughts? I think that Keyshawn over could be a little bit suspect. You know, I also think the Abbas over could be suspect. I think the Teo fight over is pretty free. I hate to say, I think that fight goes to decision at a very high clip. Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. ChillTown said that he thinks the Keyshawn could actually get Jermaine out of there. If you want to elaborate a little bit more again on that, I mean, I don't know if the over under, if you would even touch that, if you think he's going to get him out of there, because what point do you think he gets him out of there?
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's when, look, I've seen Jermaine gas before, and I feel like Keyshawn's going to be stronger at 140. So he obviously has thumping power. You saw it with Lemos. I mean, Lemos in that second round, he started eating some heavy shots. Like, yeah, who's getting? And Lemos has a good chin. So if he can do that to someone like Lemos, I don't see why he can't do that to someone like Jermaine Ortiz. I would probably say it's the hardest hitter that Jermaine's ever been in with is going to be Keyshawn Davis. I'm trying to think of Jermaine's resume. Yeah. Like, he's been in with Teofimo, but Teofimo has one knockout at 140, and that's Pedro Campa. Like, he hit Steve Claggett with everything, and Steve Claggett never went down. So I don't rate Teofimo power at all at 140. I think Keyshawn's going to be cracking at 140.
I like that, man. I think you sold me on the Keyshawn knockout. I think you've.
It's a long shot. I didn't even play it myself. I'm just saying. I don't even know what the odds are.
Shot. I don't even think it's a big of a long shot, quite frankly. Like, I don't think it's that huge of a long shot. The more I'm thinking on it, the more I'm sitting over on it, because I've always been one that champions fighters moving up in weight class and their power following up with them, depending on the weight jump. And 135 to 140 is not a big enough jump for me to where their power won't translate. And Keyshawn Davis is a hell of a boxer, hell of a puncher too, as well. He's quite frankly, he's a boxer, a skilled boxer, but he's a boxer puncher. He's a boxer puncher because he punches like a motherfucker. Like, he has thud to him. So when you put all of these things together, quite frankly, here, it's the intangibles that keep me away from Keyshawn Davis, like I brought up. It's all of the red flags around it. Has nothing to do with the in-the-ring tangibles. And I feel like you've just low-key sold me to say, fuck those intangibles. Let's ride over here with the actual boxing acumen of it here, man. So I feel like you got
to take him at his best. When have you seen him at his best, right? I have to go off. I am going to expect him at his best, right? This is what I'm going to go off of. I can't play mind games with myself. If I have the best and I look at Keyshawn's got a big frame. Keyshawn's going to be at 147.
I would say Lemos he's going to be at his best performance easily.
That Denis Berinchyk, I thought, when people thought were trying to tell me that was a 50-50 fight.
I still think Lemos is slightly better than Berinchyk. That could be an unpopular opinion because I know Berinchyk was a world champion, and that's why world champion is always a questionable thing.
Of course,
like the Navarrete fight was,
Well, Denis was undefeated, so he still had that. You have an undefeated fighter. I don't think they could lose. He had the Olympic pedigree, all that. Lemos was arguably beat Africa Hitchin. So, yeah, I mean, they're both great wins. But, I just look at like Keyshawn's a bit, like I said, he's going to be big at 140. He's going to feel out that power. I think he's going to end up at 147 at least. He's still young. He's still getting better. I just think that, I've seen the best versions of Jermaine. I've seen the best versions of Keyshawn. I think I can even see a better version of Keyshawn. And that version, a better version, I think can stop Jermaine Ortiz. So just played it out in my head. Am I going to put any money on it? I don't know. But I put money on money line. So there.
Yeah, I think it's another good live bet spot here. But I was planning on doing I haven't done a true like fuck it parlay in a while. It's where it's like high odds, high crazy odds that can actually hit. And this is the weekend that I think you could finally do one of those parlays that has a real shot of hitting, to where you'll kind of be sweating it down to the last leg. So I think I'm going to do one of those. And I think you just put me down to possibly the last leg. So yeah.
There's so many fights. Yeah, there's so many possible outcomes. Then
I mean, what I like is I know you already touched on that you like Ammo Williams. I already said that I like Bronco to get it done by stoppage. Someone's getting stopped in that fight. Fighting out to go the distance feels pretty good to me, in my opinion. And even if that means Ammo gets a stoppage on Adames, even though I do lean towards the Adames side. I like Bakram 7 through 12. Understand the value play on Josh Kelly. But again, we have to see the weigh-ins too before we put any real money on it. I like Brian Flores for Pro Box TV tomorrow a lot. I like him a lot. The more I sit on it, the more I looked into it, the more I really liked Brian Flores over Starling Castillo. And Brian Flores, what I like is that he's going to try to crack you from bell to bell. He doesn't. He goes through the gears from bell to bell, which is he's one gear. Like you said, he's Mexican.
Yeah,
one gear kind of fighter, and I appreciate that, man. So
it's consistent.
Do you have any thoughts on Figgy versus Ball before I let you go? Because I know that's coming up here.
Yeah, I like. That's another one. Like Xander's fighting in Puerto Rico. You got Nick Ball from Liverpool fighting in Liverpool, right? Well, kind of what we touched on before kind of translates to this. It's going to be now. It's where you also rate Brandon Figueroa. We all probably thought he didn't beat Yoel Gonzalez. I don't know, but in his last fight.
100% did not.
Yeah, when's the last time Brandon Figueroa actually looked world class, looked great? Maybe the Steph Fulton first fight. He looked absolutely horrible in the rematch with Steph Fulton. Maybe won a round or two. I mean, he looked so flat, pushing his punches. That version might get stopped by Nick Ball. That version. So
that's what I think he's going to get stopped. I think his body composition is meant for someone like Nick Ball to stop.
If Howard Foster is working, he'll get stopped.
I wouldn't mind if Howard Foster
in the UK. Yeah.
Fight. One thing that Figgy does that no one talks about is how he hangs his chin over the cliff. And one of Nick Ball's best traits is that side step off past your shoulder uppercut that he throws.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's one of my favorite punches because it's also off kilter. Not a lot of people do that to where they step off past your shoulder and throw the rear uppercut. It's very interesting that he does it. I think he's going to enter with body work. He's going to come and thud out Brandon Figueroa. He's going to get underneath those punches that he always does. And I think he's going to crack him with one of those. And I think he's going to drop Figgy, and then he's going to step on his roadkill and he's going to finish him. I like Nick Ball by stoppage. That's my flag that I'm planting now, and I'm going to stay on that, and I will be putting some money on that.
Oh, man.
I like
that would be something. It
would finally be a 122 pounder that he stops that people could at least give a little respect to. I guess.
That's all he seems to be fighting is the 122 pounders coming up. Brandon Figueroa, the one thing that puts me off on that is that for whatever reason in the Yoet fight, he actually got better the last 4 rounds. So I thought he kind of swept the last 4 rounds against Gonzalez. He came on strong. I was surprised. It was either that or my eyes fooled me and Joette just got horrible the last 4 rounds. But
I thought when it came to that fight, from what I remember the last 3 rounds, it just seemed like Joette lost his shape a bit.
He was getting
took his foot off the gas. 100%.
Yeah, he was getting marked up. Yeah, maybe he took his foot off the gas. I haven't rewatched it since, but
Nick and we know Nicky Ball. That man's not going to take his foot off the gas. He's going to be.
He's got a great gas tank. Yeah, great gas tank.
His best attribute. His best attribute is his willingness to fight and how long he can fight for 12 rounds. He doesn't stop. He can take photos at times, but dude, Nick Ball, man, he's a freaking wrecking ball to handle.
Maybe Fig 10 through 12. I bet you that would pay out nice. I could see that. I meant not Fig. Ball 10-12. Fig just takes a bunch of damage, and then the UK ref comes in 10th or 11th or 12th.
And
Hey,
that's
you had
where he's been
enough.
getting these stoppages. I think he stopped O'Henny and Rios, if I'm not mistaken, both in 10. If I'm not mistaken,
Nick Ball. Nick Ball has a bunch of late knockdowns and KOs. He does. That tells you he's as strong in the first that he is in the last. He's got a great gas tank. He carries his power. So
his last three knockdowns or knockouts have all came 10, 10, and 12. So hey,
there you go. Hey, that's a good. Yeah, we won't. Yeah, that might be a sneaky good play right there. Nick Ball 10-12. Yeah, I like that fight though. Yeah.
See, there we go. We just gave the juice. Well, hey, Chill, I appreciate you stopping by, bro. I know you're a busy man with everything, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate having someone that knows the game like the back of their hand like you do stopping by, man. So you have any closing thoughts before you get out of here?
No. Hey, thanks for having me, man. Whenever I have time, we'll link up again. We could talk boxing, man. Enjoy the cards this weekend, all right? We'll be in touch.
You enjoy it, man. Have a great one and have a lucrative one too as well, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Later, brother.